Hello again, this is Michael or GallifreyanAvenger, and welcome once again to GallifreyanAvenger Reviews. Today I will be reviewing the next installment of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, gee, go figure, Spider-Man Homecoming. Now, in some of my previous videos I have harped on about how much I was excited about this film. Spider-Man Homecoming, I am looking forward to that. And people were slightly hyped about this film, although a little bit hesitant about this new Spider-Man, because then again this is the second reboot of Spider-Man. After seeing Tom Holland in Civil War, I had good feelings about it. This guy really nailed the character of Spider-Man, so I had good feelings about going into it. And sure enough, yeah, Spider-Man Homecoming is actually a pretty good film. But it's a weird one because it's a collaboration of both Marvel Studios and Sony. Sony once again are clinging on to the rights of Spider-Man for all that they can. Unlike the last installment of Spider-Man on film, which, you know, brings back Vietnam flashbacks every time I think about it. It's coherent enough narrative-wise. It follows Peter Parker, played by Tom Holland, after the events of Civil War, and it's more or less a story of him trying to prove himself to Tony Stark to join the Avengers. How would I describe it? It's kind of like your run-of-the-mill high school film, but superheroes just happen to be in it, and there's a lot of energy, there's a lot of quirky energy to it. There's Peter Parker in this is actually so charming, he's adorable in this. With the supporting casts, his friend Ned, the actor who played Ned, I loved him so much. Another thing about the supporting cast, you could tell that there were story notes saying we have to be as diverse as possible, because all of his classmates are of different ethnicities, and not that there's anything wrong with that, but it just kind of feels forced subliminally, because, you know, Flash Thompson, the bully, he's now played by a coloured actor, and I have to be honest, the casting of Flash didn't sit right with me, as opposed to in the previous incarnations where Flash was, you know, this big burly hulk of a bully. Whereas Flash here, he's just a bully in the sense that he just says mean things. He's not bigger in stature than Peter Parker at all, and it just didn't sit right with me, but that's a minor nitpick. But anyway, back to the story. So Peter Parker now has a special Spider-Man outfit designed by Tony Stark, and Stark has more or less said, you know, don't do anything I would do, and then don't do anything I wouldn't do. There's a little grey area, and that's where you operate. I like that line. Happy Hogan, played by Jon Favreau. He's kind of like Peter's, not guardian, but he's very lazily watching over him as they are moving the equipment from Stark Tower to the new Avengers facility. Parker is determined to prove himself to Stark, so he's, you know, constantly going around trying to stop crime. He kind of gets a bit too big for his britches because he comes across a gang led by Adrian Toomes, or Vulture, played by Michael Keaton. He was a salvage worker salvaging the remains of the rubble and the Chitauri technology from the events of the Avengers. Of course, the government intervenes and takes possession of the technology, but that doesn't stop Vulture from smuggling some of the equipment himself. So he manufactures very overpowered weapons from this, as well as manufacturing his Vulture suit, which is essentially a giant turbine-powered wingsuit, for lack of a better way to describe it. So he's the villain of the piece, and I have to say Michael Keaton did a very good job. He was actually very intimidating. There's one key scene in the last third of the movie where he's actually so menacing to Parker, and just the way the scene was composed, it was actually kind of haunting in a way. That's Michael Keaton for you. So that's all going on. Peter is determined to put a stop to it, despite what Stark and Happy are telling him. Just be a friendly neighbourhood Spider-Man. Help old ladies cross the street. Do stuff local to yourself. Don't stop any national threats. But that doesn't stop him. He's constantly skipping school, leaving places unexplained, and he's just trying to be heroic. So Parker has found out that Stark has put some firewalls or blocking protocols into the AI in his spandex suit. With the help of his friend Ned, they override the training wheels protocol that inhibits him from accessing all of the features of a suit. When fully activated, it's similar to Iron Man's AI, but the AI is voiced by Jennifer Connelly, which is ironic in a way because the voice of Jarvis was voiced by Paul Bettany, who's married to Jennifer Connelly. So that's a fun little Easter egg. So the AI he has called Karen, and it's gas because he actually talks to the AI like she's a supportive female friend, and there's this love interest that he fancies, and he talks to the AI about her. It's really silly, but it's very funny. But that's a side note. So Parker takes it upon himself to stop Vulture and his gang from smuggling any other technology from the events of the Avengers or anything from the Stark facility. He's constantly told off by either Stark or Happy, more or less saying, no, you're just a kid, you can't be doing this, leave this to the grown-ups, that sort of thing. And we've seen this story before where the kid has to prove himself that I can be like you, Mr. Stark, that sort of thing. That's a pathetic Peter Parker voice, but no matter. Once again, this being a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, there are a ton of references to other films. Obviously they hark back to Civil War a bunch because that was Holland Spider-Man's debut, and there's this really ridiculous running gag of Captain America doing public service announcements that they show to the kids in the school on this TV. So they'll be in, gym class, and Captain America will be on the TV saying, I want you kids to understand the importance of fitness, and your gym teacher over here will tell you all about it. And it's a funny visual gag because the teacher's actually standing on the opposite side of the TV. But, yeah, no spoilers. But the fucking end credit scene, god damn it. I'm not going to give it away, but it's a fucking cop-out, and it's Marvel trolling us yet again. Not, on the same lines of Howard the Duck in the first Guardians of the Galaxy, but that's really it. That's Spider-Man Homecoming. It's a major step up from The Amazing Spider-Man 2, but then again that's not saying much because, God, thinking back, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 was so humourless in comparison to this. Good God. This film, Spider-Man Homecoming, it's a lot of fun. I'd highly recommend you see it. Not quite the best film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but either way, I'm going to give Spider-Man Homecoming 4 stars out of 5. Tom Holland did a great job. Fair play to him, he's going to go far. Well, he is going places already, but fair play to him. So that's it. Once again, I've been Michael, or a GallifreyanAvenger, and until next time, see you soon. Take care.